welcome to This Explainer. Let's dive right into what are easily the most emotional and dramatic storylines of the 2026 tournament. When we look at the data and the match reports coming out of this World Cup, there's just this undeniable theme emerging: the return of the underdog. We are seeing nations step back onto the pitch after literally decades in the international wilderness. The sheer motion of a country seeing its colors on the biggest global stage after generations of waiting, that is exactly what makes this tournament so uniquely captivating. So today we're going to break down these epic returns, examine the hard data behind their performances, and follow the Cinderella stories unfolding right before our eyes.
Now, to kick things off, I've got a question for you that really sets the stage for the sheer scale of the history we're witnessing. Based on the qualification data for 2026, which team do you think endured the absolute longest absence before finally making it back to this tournament? Just think about the generations of fans who went their whole lives without seeing their team qualify. The answer? A staggering 52 years. Just let that number sink in for a second. An agonizing half-century wait that was finally ended by not just one, but two nations, DR Congo and Haiti. This beautifully illustrates the massive generational gap between their last appearance on the world stage and their highly anticipated return today. Both of these nations made their only previous appearance all the way back in 1974. And what's really fascinating about the historical context here is that back in 1974, DR Congo actually competed under the name Zaire. Fast forward 52 years, and Haiti earned their ticket back by surviving a grueling CONCACAF qualifying campaign, pulling off some seriously decisive results against major regional rivals like Costa Rica and Honduras. Moving into Section 1, two fates for two Cinderellas. Now, even though both of these teams share that magical 52 years Cinderella story of qualifying, their actual experiences once the 2026 tournament kicked off couldn't be more different. We're seeing two entirely different fates mapped out for these historic returnees. On one hand, we have the pure ecstasy of DR Congo sitting second in Group K with a massive point. But that contrasts really sharply with the profound heartbreak of Haiti. Despite that incredible qualifying run we just talked about, Haiti faced a brutal reality check. They lost 1-0 to Scotland and 3-0 to Brazil, leaving them with 0 points and making them the very first team to be officially eliminated from the 2026 tournament. It's a harsh reminder of just how unforgiving this level of competition can be. The absolute moment of magic that put DR Congo in this strong position happened in first-half stoppage time against the powerhouse that is Portugal. In their first match since 1974, they went toe-to-toe with a giant, and Yohan Wissa scored a monumental 1-1 equalizing goal. This wasn't just a goal, it was the release of 52 years of waiting, a historic strike that sent Kinshasa into absolute celebration and secured that precious point in Group K. All right, on to Section 2, decades-long absences conquered. Because DR Congo and Haiti aren't the only ones ending massive droughts here. European mainstays like Norway, Scotland, and Austria are all returning after a 28-year absence stretching back to 1998. And guess what? All three have immediately put 3 points on the board. We also see the Czech Republic back after 20 years with a hard-fought point, and Paraguay returning from a 16-year absence to secure 3 points of their own. And these returns, they're being fueled by some massive individual performances. Norway made a huge statement by dismantling Iraq 4-1, powered by a dominant brace from Erling Haaland and a goal from Leo Østigård. Austria won their opener 3-1 with key goals from Romano Schmidt and Marko Arnautovic. Paraguay secured a really tight 1-0 victory over Turkey thanks to a second-minute strike by Matías Galarza. And for Scotland, John McGinn became an absolute national hero, scoring the goal that beat Haiti 1-0, securing Scotland's very first World Cup win since 1990. Zooming out to the wider global picture, we absolutely have to talk about Iraq. They ended a massive 40-year absence. Their last appearance was in 1986, and managed to find the back of the net against Norway with a 39th-minute goal from Ayman Hussein. New Zealand and South Africa, both returning after 16 years, secured points through an Elijah Just brace and a Tebaho Mokoena penalty, respectively. Unfortunately for Turkey, their return after 24 years ended in elimination. But listen, we absolutely cannot skip over co-host Canada. Returning for back-to-back tournaments, they finally broke through their historical barrier, earning their first-ever World Cup point with a draw against Bosnia, and their first-ever victory in a massive 6-0 thrashing of Qatar. Next up, Section 3, returning after 2022 heartbreak. So, moving slightly away from the multi-decade waits, these are the heavy hitters seeking some major redemption after shockingly missing out in 2022, and they are not wasting this opportunity.
Colombia and Egypt are completely dominating, sitting in first place in groups K and G. Ivory Coast is holding strong in second place in Group E, while Sweden and Panama are currently battling it out in third place in their respective groups.
These teams are flat out proving they belong back on the big stage, and they're powered by undeniable star power. Colombia made a huge statement returning with a 3-1 win over Uzbekistan, with goals from Daniel Munoz, Luis Diaz, and Jamintin Campaz. Egypt is flying high with 4 points, driven by elite talents like Mo Salah, Trezeguet, Ashore, and Zico. Ivory Coast picked up a win against Ecuador thanks to Amad Diallo. And Sweden opened their campaign with a 5-1 demolition of Tunisia, featuring a brilliant brace from Yassine Ayari.
And I need to take a quick pause here to highlight a really massive return to glory. After the profound heartbreak of missing both the 2018 and 2022 tournaments, the 4-time champions are back. Italy has officially returned to the world stage after an agonizing 8-year absence. Finally, Section 4, Historic Debuts and Near Misses. You know, you literally can't talk about the magic of the World Cup without looking at the brand new faces stepping onto the pitch for the very first time. Jordan put up an incredibly valiant fight in their historic debut match against Austria. After falling behind early, Ali Alwan etched his name into the history books by scoring Jordan's first ever World Cup goal in the 50th minute to equalize. For a moment, a massive upset looked entirely possible, but the momentum shifted tragically when an unfortunate Yazan Al-Arab own goal in the 76th minute gave Austria the lead back, before a stoppage time penalty sealed the 3-1 loss. Likewise, Uzbekistan made immense history as the very first Central Asian nation to ever compete in the tournament. Facing a really tough Colombian side, they found themselves down late in the first half. But in the 60th minute, they gave their fans a moment of pure, unadulterated joy when Abbasbek Faizulayev netted their first ever tournament goal. Even though Colombia ultimately pulled away to win 3-1, that single goal represents a monumental milestone for Uzbekistan's football history. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this thought to ponder. We've seen 52-year droughts shattered, historic first goals, and incredible redemption stories, all cleanly laid out in the data today. So, how does the structure of international sports continue to create such unparalleled emotional platforms for underdog nations to captivate the entire globe? It's a fantastic reminder of why we dive into the data, why we track the qualifiers so closely, and why these stories matter so deeply. Take a moment to think about that and keep your eyes peeled for the next great Cinderella story. Thanks for joining me.